Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah, amma ba'd. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so today there are a few issues actually. Lately I've been getting few emails. Okay, so some of our students are falling behind, so you will have a long break, in about a few weeks, about I don't know 5-6 weeks from now. So you will have enough time to revise everything that we have done, considering that we didn't do a lot this year. Okay, so maybe only the practical side. So that was a bit, so something maybe to be concerned about, because, for example, if you have got only one recipe for oil, so it means you can apply it for hundreds of different remedies. So it means potentially your practical lesson, one lesson, potentially may take up to thousands of hours, So for example, we have hot oil and we have cold oil. Okay, so cold oil, rose oil, for example. Okay, or hot oil, cinnamon oil, for example. So there is big list of different plants, isn't it? Different hot and cold plants. Okay, so the same recipe is applied, the same formula is applied if it is for the cold oil. So the same way of preparing all of the cold oils, or over 90% of the cold oils. Understand? So you can use the same formula for all of the flowers, and all of that are cold. Okay, or the same hot formula of the hot oil you can apply for all of the plants which are hot. Okay, so let's say you want to do saffron oil. Okay, so we do it for the heart palpitation, that type of thing. So it is, or for example, joint pains. Okay, so you do mustard oil. So you can apply all of that. So means in the summer holidays you have to at least produce about 50-60 different oils. So in your laboratory you should have big jars of hot oils and big jars of cold oils. Okay, 50, 60, could be hundreds also, depending on how long you are going to contribute towards it. Okay, so that's about this. And also, okay, so because of the complaints of some of our students that they are falling really behind, so we will do just a little bit of reading today. Okay, but again, as I promised, today I want to focus, because we have Muslim students, and as far as I know, both of Sunnah and Shia, both of the schools of Muslim sects, so they do have a problem with what is known as astrology. Okay, so because just I want to avoid that word, and I want to say medical astronomy. Okay, so medical astronomy. So I want to just give some theological background. Theologians, okay, so they have only one problem. Okay, so it is about believing on the direct effect of the planets. That is only the problem. You may read thousands of pages, but all of that is summarized in one word. These theologians normally give example by saying that ancient Arabians, they used to worship the stars. Okay, that is incorrect. No one used to worship the stars. It is misunderstanding of the Quranic verses. Okay, so what they say they used to ask the planets and the stars as believers ask God. Okay, so maybe there were some primitive tribes here, there, or maybe right now we may have them somewhere in the third world, in which they pray to the planets. Okay, but there is no such a science, such a subject of praying for the planets. Okay, but we have the subject that we're going to study in the specializing course. It is studying and using, recruiting the effects of the planets. Okay, so for example, we have saffron. As I said, it is good for heart palpitation. So God created the saffron to be like that. So also we have planet. Okay, so as you use the saffron to prepare a remedy, so you can use the sunlight in certain way. Believe me, effect of both are exactly same. Heart palpitation. So sun is, its effect is on the heart. So saffron is its effect is on the heart. Understand? So, but then where is the problem that theologians, Muslim theologians, normally complain about? So it is about one thing: believing that planets affect directly. So it's not that God creates the effect in the planets. Do you understand? So that is only the problem. But even then, among the theologians, we have two opinions. The first opinion, it belongs to what we know as Maturidi and Ash'ari. You know what is known as Ahl Sunnah. So they say that fire does not have effect of burning, but when fire comes close to the paper, for example, God creates burning. Understand? So it means the link, the connection between cause and effect is not natural. Okay, but it is habitual. Habitual means God creates. God creates both of them when they come together. Means possible, it's very possible that in the universe there is a place where there is a fire but does not burn, because God did not create in that planet. God does not implement this habit of fire burning the soft materials. Do you understand? So that is the belief of Hanafis and Shafis and Malikis. But we have fourth group, which is Hanbalis, as well as there is another group which is called Mu'tazila. So they believe that the effect, the cause and effect, is natural. So God created the effect inside of the cause. Means it is undetachable. Okay, so each time when you bring the fire close to the paper, it just burns. Okay, because it's not that God creates the burning separately, but because God made the fire to burn. So it means God burns by the support, or you can say by the cause of fire. Do you understand? So it means within Islam we do have this belief also, which, for example, herbalists and philosophers have. It is Hanbali, and as we know, Hanbalis are radical Sunni group. Do you understand? So, for example, we have ISIS and all of these. So they mainly follow the Hanbali school of thought. Understand? So then where is the problem then? So the problem is only with one school, which is Ahl Sunnah, Ash'aris and Maturidis. So they say the connection between cause and effect is not natural, but it is habitual. So it means water, if you are thirsty and you want to remove this thirst, so you should not believe that it's actually water is doing. Do you understand? Okay. So then, so it means there is no difference. According to Ahl Sunnah, there is no difference between a water or food removing your hunger and between planet affecting on your heart palpitation. Understand? So according to theologians, yes, it's exactly the same, but then question. So then why do you have a problem with the planets and you do not have a problem with the water? So they say because there is no in the history any example where people worship the water, but there are examples where people worship the planets. And some of the verses also highlighted. Understand? So means that is only the problem. Okay? So means believing in planets is exactly as believing in the water. Okay? But why Muslims stress about the planets? Because in the history, people used to worship the planets and sacrifice for the planets, you know, slaughtering the animals for the sake of pleasing the planet. So that's only the problem. Understand? And then it grew, this misunderstanding grew that badly that any conversation about the planets and stars, it straight away gives impression to the Muslims that it is heresy and shamanism and that type of things, but that is incorrect. Okay, so for example, do you know even Quran highlights about Cyrus. Cyrus, do you know the galaxy of Cyrus? Okay, so God says, Allah says, وَأَنَّهُ هُوَ رَبُّ الشَّعْرَى. Shara means Cyrus, galaxy of Cyrus. Why Allah is specifically mentioning the Cyrus? Okay, so Cyrus, it is the foundation, the entire civilization of ancient Egypt is based on the knowledge which is around the Cyrus. So for example, contemporary civilization is based on one thing, electricity. So the ancient Egyptian civilization is based on also one thing, which is Cyrus planet, you know, the galaxy of Cyrus. Understand? If we compare the contemporary civilization to the ancient Egyptian civilization, there is big difference, you know. The ancient Egyptian civilization is there, and contemporary civilization is just there. Understand? It's very high. So it means the Cyrus is much more. You can say the civilization which is based on Cyrus is much more glorious, okay, and not harmful for the nature, for the human also, than the civilization which is based on electricity or petrol, which is damaging the environment, damaging the human body. Understand? And Quran highlights the Cyrus, saying that God is the one who created the Cyrus. Understand? Okay, so that's one thing. And another thing, so we do have the consensus of all theologians who say that there is not any problem in believing on the effect of full moon. Okay, so our Prophet advised us to keep fasting, okay, on the bright night, which is the full moon. And as we all know, full moon affects negatively. Okay, so the biggest rate of crime, it is during the full moon. And also, you know, the Native American civilization, full moon and wolf, understand, it is somehow related. Human will start acting in a bit strange way. And in order to control that evil behavior, or you can say that type of oppressive behavior, so you have to control the blood, okay? And the quickest way of controlling the blood is not feeding the blood, means fasting, which Prophet did say, saying, advising us to fast in them 3 days, bright nights. And Rasulullah used to fast all the time in them 3 days, okay? 13th, 14th, and 15th of the lunar calendar, because that's how it controls your emotions, okay? Just one advice from my side to you, just keep a note of your behavior, okay? So day by day, today I was, for example, weak, passive, today active, passionate, emotional, angry. So just on day by day, and then follow the most aggressive days in your life, okay? So make it for 1 year, and I do expect that the most aggressive, okay, and least intelligent days in your life, it will be in that full moon, okay, full moon nights or full moon days. Do you understand? So that is very important. So means there is connection. And also, you know the movement of the seas and oceans is confirmed to be depending on the moon, isn't it? Okay. And also the human is part of the earth as sea. So if sea gets affected, so do you think that human will stay on the side without being affected? Understand? Okay. And also human behavior, aggressive behavior is also somehow, just look into the phase of the movement of Mars. Do you understand? Okay, so aggressive behavior, aggression, sometimes may call rebellion. Okay, or it may call wars. Okay, and being, as you know, there are 7 eclemes. And when, for example, Mars comes in some certain stationary, its effect in one of them 7 eclemes, it will be slightly different than to others. Understand? And then epidemic raises in one country. So it's not country, it's not political place. So they say, yeah, there is epidemic in China. No, no, no. It's not epidemic in political space, but it is in geographical space, ecleme. So it's not only China, but some part of China which lies, for example, in the, let's say, fifth region, and the rest of the 5th region also. Understand? Including Kyrgyzstan, do you understand? Some part of Japan, do you understand? So 5th ecleme. So it's nothing to do with the political. So illnesses is nothing to do with the political, place, space, but geographical space. Why? Just watch the movement of the planets. Understand? So it's the same as death increasing in, let's say, Africa, in one place, in one of the countries of Africa, or currently in Yemen. Why? Because there is famine, no food. Do you understand? So when I say, okay, so absence of the food results in death of the countries. So then no one will say that I am shaman because I believe in food. No, no one believes, no one says that. Understand? So it's exactly on the same way as food is consumed to keep the belly full, because the effect of the food is to fill, to feed or to fill the belly, to feed the person. So in the same way, we have these 7 planets, and each of them has got some certain properties, okay, in which God created some certain type of cause and effect. Okay, so for example, in the future, you are going to use the sunlight and moonlight and the light of Venus and other stationaries to dry your herbs. Understand? So for example, let's say that in order to create wet, to increase the wetness of your plants, you will be drying under the moonlight. Why? Because the sunlight is dry, hot and dry, but moonlight is cold and wet. And for your patient, you need wetness. For example, cancer. For the cancer is very extreme level of dryness, but you cannot feed the plant, a dry plant for your patient. So if the plant in itself is dry, but you have not any other choice but using that herb to cure the cancer, so you have to make its dryness mild. How? By drying it under the moonlight. And you have to find a geographical place. You may travel to Turkey, for example, Morocco, where the sky is clear most of the year, just to go and dry up your remedies, your plants. So now, by using the moonlight, are you committing a paganism? So are you believing that there is more than one God? No, you're not doing it. But you are utilizing something which God has created for your own benefit. Understand? Okay, so I hope it explains. Because we may have some of our brothers and sisters who may find this, what is called as astrology, they may find it as part of black magic, part of heresy, part of Freemason or Illuminati, or that type of things, which we're not related to. Our way is herbalism. We utilize herbs, okay, minerals, okay, plants, geographical places, weather, okay, sun, moon, and everything. So we use everything in order to cure the illness. Does make sense? Yeah. So because all of the for you to dry your herb, you need the clear sky. Okay, so means in the UK you cannot dry your herbs, regardless if it is hot herbs or wet or cold herbs, because the effect of neither of sun and moon is direct, because there is all the time clouds. Okay, so only I can say, may Allah help the herbalists who live in Britain. Okay, even we tried, me and my students, we tried for many times to dry the herbs in the UK. You know, its dryness never gets to that proper dry. It will remain, it will remain very soft, you know, even after drying it for months. Do you understand? It never gets to that. So that's why some of my students, they go to Pakistan or to other hot countries to dry, to get that finest dryness of the plants. Because do you know the herbs which are dried in the UK, it will spoil the remedy because of two reasons. First is the wetness will remain all the time, and as you know, drying the plant, it will help you in very important way, which is condensing its strength, to make its strength stronger. Okay, so for example, fresh rose petal and the dried rose petal. So which one is stronger in its effect? Definitely the dried one. Understand? So you do not get to that dryness in the UK if you want to dry in here. So you have to collect it from here, and then you have to fly to some hot countries, okay, to dry. Okay, each of you have to plan, prepare for yourself some in order to dry your things. Okay, we from our end in our college, we may try to help you, but do not expect us to help you to dry your herbs. Our duty is to teach you. Okay, but because we also treat our patients, so we have to dry our plants also. So that's why we do have our own places to dry. So when you graduate, we may help you. We may say to you, yeah, okay, so we have our, for example, plantations or our laboratory, for example, let's say in Morocco. If you want to join us, let's go. We may say that, or we may say, no, you make your own way. So don't rely on us. Okay, so drying the plants, it's your own duty. Okay, so that's one thing. And the second problem of the plants which are dried in the UK, it will spoil your remedy. So for example, the average Majun remedy that you prepare, elixir, for example, it normally stays for 24 years. So within all of that 24 years of period, you can use your elixir after preparing it. Okay, but for that, so do you know the plant, if it is wet, if it's not dried properly, so wetness, dampness causes decomposition. It destroys your elixir. Understand? So, for example, normal elixir, which is Majun, Triap, Majun, these two types, okay, mainly Majun, it is the remedy you prepare today, and you can only start using after 6 months. Okay, so we say after 6 months it is born. Okay, and then it will start affecting, but its effect will not be as strong. And after 2 years, its effect will be strong. Okay, so its effect will carry on becoming stronger up to 12 years. And after 12 years, it will start decreasing. The effect of the Majun will start decreasing. Understand? So after 24 years, it does not give you that effect which is mentioned in the books, but it becomes poisonous. It may harm the patient. It may kill also. Okay, so some of the triacs will definitely kill after 20. For example, we have this Faruqiyya, triac Faruqiyya, some call it Majun Faruqiyya. So that definitely, after expiry time, it kills the patient, becomes poison. Okay, for example, we have Matriditis, like a very famous Majun, after 24 years becomes poisonous. Okay, do you know that mixture properties which are mixed in it? Okay, in Matriditis we'll have over 30 different plants. Okay, some minerals also. So it will start reacting with each other after 24 years to make it to be poisonous. Okay, but it will never stay for 24 years if the plants, if each single plant in the margin in your elixir is not dried properly. So if all of the plants are dried except one, which is dried in the UK, so that dampness, okay, within the matter of few months, your remedy will start decomposing. It causes that problem, you know. Okay, so as you see, so that's very important, you know. So you as herbalist, you are going to recruit the you can say planets and effect of the planets during out your life all the time, regardless if it will be in terms of detecting the mizaj of the patient or diagnosing the illness or treating the patient the illness. For all of that, you will be implementing your knowledge of medical astronomy. So that's why you have to sort out the theological problem about kufr, disbelief, apostasy, infidel, heresy, etc. So you have to sort it out from now. So the doctor herbalist with no knowledge of the planets and stars, so I would call him maybe one-eyed, okay, one-eyed hunter, okay, or one-eyed warrior, very weak. Okay, so he can see the enemies which are coming only from one side, but this side he cannot detect them. So he will be killed in the first battle. Understand? So that's very important. That's very important. Yeah. So and also, for example, we have a pink moon, red moon, pink moon. It has got its own effects. For us, it's very important to know when exactly it will be a red moon and what to expect, okay, so that you can prepare your remedies, because you know, okay, so it was red moon, so for the next 2 months I will be curing the people from XYZ, okay, which is caused by, it's the same as winter. So you prepare your hot remedies, because chest infection, no, you know, like all of them, different infections, so for example, eye infection, throat infection, all of them will be in the winter, okay? But just by believing that cold winter causes infections, so are you committing disbelief towards God? No, no. Same thing about red moon. Red moon is similar to, for example, one of the seasons. So in that season, you expect certain list of it. For example, in the summer right now, nose bleeding will be very common because of the heat. Okay, choleric people, okay, so their aggression becomes extreme because the weather is hot and dry, and they are choleric people also, angry. So anger, temper will raise. So what is caused by the temper? By the temper, different heart and nerve problems. Understand? So it means you prepare your remedies for that. But then, just by believing that in the summer, choleric illnesses will raise, so are you disbelieving in God, or are you believing that there are more than one God? No, 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 no. This is different to that. This is different to that. Okay, so because I'm just trying to sort out all of that for our students, because I don't want some of them to be one-eyed warrior. Okay, so there is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong with studying the medical astronomy. Okay, but then why do I have these single chain narrations, ahadith, like a prophetic statements? In my own understanding, it is misunderstood, misquoted. Rasulullah, the Prophet Muhammad, was misunderstood. Okay, because by himself bringing Quran, which is full of astronomical verses, okay, and full of different, you can say, descriptions of the planets and galaxies and stars. And Prophet Muhammad, he used to, by himself, he used to react to the moon, movements of the moon, fasting, and, for example, removing blood, letting out the blood, cupping, for example, okay, based on different astronomical events. So he had good knowledge of the astronomy. And also, as you know, okay, so we have this prophet in Islam, in Islamic tradition. This prophet is called Idris, alayhi salam, and in the Jewish Christian tradition, he is called Enoch. Okay, so Enoch, so as you know, his miracle, according to the Islamic sources, his miracle was the knowledge of stars and planets. Do you understand? Okay, so means prophets never bring the disbelief or paganism. So miracle of a prophet cannot be disbelief. Understand? So that's why it's very important for us. So that's why, for example, when I have a patient, definitely I ask him about the date of birth. But the date of birth has to be very accurate. Sometimes, just by looking at the patient, I may ask him the date of birth, and then he mentions, I say it cannot be right, because he is behaving in different way. So for example, he will say something like, yeah, you know, I am, let's say, 10th of August, okay, 76. Okay, so for me, this person is very, very active, very brave. Okay, why? Because, but it is like strong, brave, very active, means extrovert. But only the problem is he loses a lot of energy. So straight away I know if someone comes, he's introvert, very you can say anxious, anxiety, fear, okay, and he gets affected, cries, you know, and then sits very calm. I say this date of birth cannot be yours. The person of this date of birth, okay. So do you know? I would say so. Whom? I'm trying to compare this to character. Do you know? Do you know Terminator? Arnold Schwarzenegger, but Terminator. No, Terminator is too quiet, you know. But it should be vocal. Who is the character? So vocal, brave, courageous, but time to time making false dramas just to find out if people still love him and appreciate him and respect him. Just making up. So who could be? Yeah, so it's one of those. Do you know, for example, do you know the Beauty and the Beast? Beauty and the Beast. So in there we have this negative character. Do you know the one who fights with the beast? What's his name? Yeah, so that character. So that is 1976, 10th of August. That person, yes. Showing off, understand, courageous, okay? And most of the time they're physically very fit, muscle, understand? And they love to show off. And even if they choose to marry, they marry very beautiful, very pretty women because they love to show off. And so that character. Gaston, I think Gaston. I don't know. No one is giving me any. So Gaston. So Gaston is 1976, 10th of August. Yes, brave, courageous, showing off, but also low. Also can do the low, lying, slandering. Do you understand? That type of personality. But someone comes to me, passive, introvert, okay, scared. And gives me that I know the date of birth is not matching you, so means straight away I disregard it. I know it is incorrect date of birth. Okay, so means by date of birth I know the mizaj of the default mizaj of the patient. Also, the default mizaj of the patient gives me potential illnesses. Okay, heart and nerve, etc., kidneys. And then he complains about something else. It's not matching. So it means something went wrong. Because it's not his natural illnesses. It's what he mentioned is not, so for example, urine infection. Okay, so urine infection, and then he says it's because of the inflammation in the bladder. So it is not natural for this date of birth. But if he would say, yeah, kidney failure, I would say yes, because those people normally, okay, they do not drink a lot of water. It may cause kidney failure, yes, over time, but not as young men. After the age of 45, 50 years, I expect it. But if he complains about something else, I say, means it is not your illness. So then I will start looking for the reason. So most of the time, the reason will be either the food, the diet that he has, because that's not natural for him, or it is something in your house. Okay, so his house, there is dumbness. Okay, or in his house, just gas leaking. Gas is leaking in his house, so that is causing this. Understand? So that is so. As you see, it is very important for you as herbalist practitioner to have that knowledge of herbal astronomy. Okay, so that's why I want you guys to sort out these misconceptions about the astronomy, so medical astronomy. Okay, so I don't want you to, for example, be scared of it. Okay, or thinking that it takes you out of Islam or it makes you disbeliever. So I want you to just get rid of that misconceptions. Okay, yeah, and if you have any further confusion about this subject, okay, so I would advise you to email me or to find some theologian whom you trust and to sit down and to discuss it with him. Okay, so for example, now I'm very well known as jurist, okay, mufti, giving fatwa, you understand, but my specialty is theology and philosophy from Azhar University. So means this is actual my specialty, even though if I'm famous by something else. I'm famous by fiqh, giving fatwa, what is halal and what is haram, what is permissible and what is, so I'm famous by that, but my specialty is this. Understand? So you can consult with me, or you can find some scholar whom you trust, just to get rid of this misconception about the medical astronomy. Okay? And only one thing could be in terms of predicting the future based on the planets. We do not do that, but we may expect the potential illnesses. Because as I told you, so for example, Venus, okay, so Venus, or for example, the moon, okay, so it causes cold illnesses. Okay, so the people with depression, they become severe. Okay, and the people with, so it causes mental disorder. Okay, so if I know that stationary of the moon is in the place in which it will giving direct effect, so means I know that next month, starting from, for example, 2nd lunar day, I will start getting a lot of people with depression. Understand? Or a lot of people with increasing mental disorder. So am I predicting the future? No, I'm not predicting, but I know that tomorrow it will snow, so I prepare the coat. So am I predicting the future? No, I'm not. Understand? So it is one of those things. Okay, so we never predict the future, but because of the seasons, or because of for example, now it became very popular to eat crisps. Okay, so I expect the people with increasing kidney failure, or for example with kidney problems. Why? Because crisps, they use extra amount of strange chemical salts, which drains the body from the wetness. Understand? So it means you expect the dry illnesses, cold and dry illnesses. Okay, because in the salt, very hot, extreme level of heat causes cold illnesses. If you remember, we spoke about it in the 2nd year. So now everyone is eating crisps, so I expect that I'm going to have a lot of patients with cold illnesses. So am I predicting the future? No, I'm not predicting the future. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay, so I hope that it answers these confusions. Okay, so I hope that it clears up all of the problems in your head, inshallah. Yeah. Okay. So, but again, this, I mean, in the in our first level, in the first 3 years, we speak about it in minimal, in a quite little amount of, you can say, information about it. But when we do the specializing, but only specializing doctors, okay, in that we expand on it, okay. But specializing herbalist, very minimal also, because when you are a herbalist, you don't need to know a lot about the astronomy, okay, but only that much which will, you can say, qualify you to dry your herbs correctly. Only that much, which is just a couple of pages, and that will do. But if you're a doctor, you have to know about it a lot, because when you have a patient, okay, so some of the patients, some of the illnesses, treatment of that will take a long time. So you will be following, comparing. So for that, you need good knowledge, good grasp of the astronomy. Okay, so, and also, as you know, we have in terms of the medical astronomy. Okay, so we split the organs not into 3 but into 7. Okay, because each organ is related to one of the planets. Okay, so disorder in the organ could be in some certain stationary of the planet. Okay, so let's say that your heart is related to the sun. Okay, so you started having problems in the heart. Okay, so you should not, first thing you have to find out about the stationary of the sun. So maybe that is affecting somehow. Okay, so even before you ask him about what he eats. Okay, so sometimes that could be, food could be the reason, or sometimes your patient does not sleep. Okay, so that also affects on the heart. So you may think that the reason of the illness is insomnia, but actually the reason of the illness is the stationary of the sun. Okay, so in this season. Okay, so what you can do, you can just help out just to pass that period of the stationary of the sun. Understand? So that much, inshallah, we'll study in the specializing course. Okay, so it will be very interesting. So I remember when I by myself used to study, I used to enjoy it. Okay, because it's not only the physical illnesses, and it would explain a lot of mental and psychological illnesses also. Okay, so it's quite simple, and also it gives you good knowledge of the personalities. Angry guy, why? Yeah, because his passion is Mars. Mars people are quite angry people. Napoleon, Mars. Okay, or Hitler, Mars. Mars under the sponsorship of Sun. That is, boom, understand? Hitler. Okay, so so that's about this one. Okay, so I think so today, because I want to do 2 things actually. So first is because some of the students, they complain that there is a lot to catch up. Okay, so that's why I did, and the second reason is because just I want to get rid of these misconceptions, you know, about the disbelief and astrology and prediction and etc. So I hope that it was useful. So today it was a bit of, you can say, also break, but also a bit of learning, something that you will be expanding on in the specializing course. Okay, but the next week we'll be going back to our normal schedule and to our normal way of doing. Okay, so the urjuza. So next week we'll just go back to that. Okay, so again, if you have further questions to me or to some other scholars about the theological aspect, please try to sort it out now. Don't leave it till next week. Okay, because once we do once we discuss one information, we never come back to it. We just move on because we have a lot to do. So for example, look, we have 100 pages in total of urjuza, and so far you guys did only 15 pages. Understand? And you have to do all of that in 3 years. So first year is gone. Only this year you will finish about 20 pages. So then 80 pages for 2 years, which means about 40 pages on every year basis. So that's a lot. So that's why we do not repeat, because repeating will take time, and we do not have time to finish off the urjuza. Okay, so everyone, thank you very much. And next week, inshallah, we'll catch up. Okay, yeah, and also, as I said, start preparing your oils. So in your laboratory, by the end of third year, you should have all of the oils and everything ready. So straight as soon as you will graduate from the third year, you will start curing the illnesses. Okay, the average level illnesses, not the highest ones, but the average levels. For example, insomnia, eczema, skin conditions, that type of things. Okay, by the end of third year. So for that, you need your remedies ready. So start preparing from now. Okay. Yeah. So thank you very much. I will see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.